Thank you, Madam Speaker. And I'm a little bit appalled about the member across. I would say to you, Madam Speaker, on April the 8th, 2009 was the first day 8-year-old Tori Stafford was allowed to walk home by herself from her elementary school in Woodstock, Ontario. She never made it home. Instead, she was lured into a car with the promise of seeing a puppy. Needless to say, there was no puppy. Instead, Tori was brutally raped and murdered. One of her murderers pled guilty to first-degree murder in 2010, making her eligible for parole after 25 years. In the 8 years since her conviction, Tori's murderer has earned no rewards for good behavior. Instead, in 2012, she pled guilty to assaulting a fellow inmate. She bragged about stomping on the face of a fellow inmate, bragging to her friends that she had committed hateful acts in prison. This is a person that needs to be in a secure prison. You can imagine the shock in my riding when it was announced that Tori Stafford's murderer has been transferred from a high-security prison to a healing lodge for Aboriginal women in Saskatchewan. Now, Madam Speaker, that's not this party cranking up anything. It's the community is upset. This is not a minimum security risk. This is a convicted killer who had been found guilty of horrific crimes, the types of things that all parents are fearful of when they let their child walk home from school alone for the very first time. Madam Speaker, the focal point of the Healing Lodge is the spiritual lodge where teaching, ceremonies, and workshops with elders take place. This is where women learn how to live independently by cooking, doing laundry, cleaning, and doing outdoor maintenance chores. Each unit has a bedroom, a bathroom, a kitchenette with a eating area, and a living room. A constituent of mine pointed out this sounds nicer than some apartments Canadians are working hard to be able to afford in their own, including his. We as elected representatives have an obligation and a responsibility to make it right when officials get it wrong. The decision to move Tori's killer from behind bars to a healing lodge with no fence and with children living inside is disgraceful. I have heard from countless constituents through email, phone calls, and on social media about how disappointed they are in this decision. One writes, Madam Speaker, I implore you to take quick action as a representative of this area to bring this issue forward for resolution, not only for the sake of the family involved, but the families that have felt the impact of this heinous crime. Another, I feel so sick about this injustice about McClintock going to a medium security lodge. This is so wrong, and Tori has been robbed of the idea of any justice. I'm saddened that this woman has been rewarded. And Madam Speaker, I am asking to split my time with the member from Saskatoon-Graceland. Another demanding, please do something to get McClintock back in jail and not in a healing lodge. This is absolutely ridiculous. They go on. There's no way she should be anywhere but locked away for life, and I feel quite sure that you feel the same, especially considering it happened right here in our own community. However, I think one constituent summarized it best. She wrote, I heard the Prime Minister get up in the House of Commons, explain that as a previous Conservative government was responsible for initially moving McClintock to a medium security prison. This is an empty excuse. The Liberal government is now in charge. With a majority, you can get things done and reverse this decision. Madam Speaker, my constituents are speaking loud and clear, and they are right to be. Canadians are appalled by what has happened, and this government needs to exercise its moral, legal, and political authority to reverse this decision. Canadians are outraged, and they know that parliamentarians, as their elected representatives, have the power to act. My constituents are demanding that I seek justice for Tori and take action to demand the government return her killer to a high-security prison. Dangerous child killers belong behind bars. Canadians know that it is unacceptable to leave a child killer in a fenceless facility with other children. I rise in the House today to ask that this Liberal government reverse the decision that was made to move Tori Stafford's murderer to a healing lodge and return her to a high-security prison. Tori's father has made a plea that has circulated thousands of times on social media, asking the Prime Minister to reverse this decision. I think it is important for his plea to be on record and for the House to hear what he has to say. Madam Speaker, he says, Madam, my name is Rodney Stafford, father of kidnapped, raped, and murdered 8-year-old Victoria Elizabeth Marie Stafford. I plead to you as a father and a proud Canadian citizen who, even after this traumatic experience, tries to live a normal, tax-paying life. I really have to question our federal government as to why child-convicted murderers such as Terry Lynn McClintock deserve more rights than their victims and law-abiding Canadians. I may not have grown up living a perfect life, but I grew up to learn that I love the country I live in and I know right from wrong. It's a safe and beautiful country. Now I see so many hearts breaking because people are no longer feeling safety and reassurance within our laws. This is an ever-changing world that hosts a whole new world of manipulative monsters that our nation needs to protect its citizens from. Terry Lynn McClintock is a dangerous predator who has repeatedly engaged in violent altercations, both within society and while incarcerated, boasting of not being able to do more damage. I would like to ask you, with no ill will, the question though, if I may, from father to father, could you kneel beside your child's headstone knowing they spent the last 3 hours of their life begging and pleading for mommy or daddy to come save them, alone and scared? Can you sleep soundly knowing there is more injustice unfolding before you? Is this enough to remember that not all issues are political? Some are moral. God bless. I pray for you to do the right thing, which is to ensure this injustice is reversed and a child killer is returned to prison to finish her sentence behind bars. Madam Speaker, I think those are pretty strong words from Mr. Stafford, who is in my office again today. We hear from Canadians all the time about horrendous situations such as this. But in this case, it hits very close to home. And my friend, the Chief of Police in Woodstock, as has already been mentioned, I spoke with him on the weekend, and he is just appalled, I think, as the rest of us are, and felt the need to speak out. And as you know, Madam Speaker, police chiefs do not typically speak out about matters in their communities. In this case, Chief Bill Renton felt that need and has certainly spoken out and made it very clear. This woman is not a shoplifter. She's not a car thief. She's a convicted, brutal murderer who lured this young girl to a very violent death. She played an extremely active part. She's the one responsible. She should be behind bars, and the Healing Lodge certainly isn't the place for her. The Healing Lodges have a purpose, but it's not for people like her. There must be literally thousands of women out there in prisons that could utilize the Healing Lodge, but not for this particular killer. Thank you, Madam Speaker.